Greetings and welcome to the Q&A Livestream. Of course, I am Jarus, and I am standing here in the good old spaceport, and I'm not seeing my chat here update, so I hope this is working okay. Alright, so I'm here at the spaceport because one of the first things I wanted to address was that if you have a Karak and you upgrade the $20 upgrade to the Pisces with 4 weapons, and by the way, the default model does not allow 4 weapons. It's a bug right now, so if you do want 4 weapons on your Pisces, you will need to upgrade it. You get an extra Avenger right now. I'm sure they'll resolve it soon, but unfortunately, since I did upgrade it, I won't be flying my Pisces anytime soon. Well, at least as soon as it takes for them to fix it. Alright, let me see if I can fix my page here because it is not being friendly to my stream here. Now, if the audio levels are off or a little loud or a little incorrect, feel free to go ahead and let me know. This whole streaming setup is rather new to me. I'm refreshing the page here on my Kindle. It's kind of a... I want to get 2 computer screens on my next computer, but I am not going to be upgrading that computer until basically... There we go. That seems to be working. Yes. Great. I'm not going to be upgrading the computer until I actually see a release date for Squadron 42. I really want to have the most powerful system I can have at that point in time. So I'm going to head over to the Expo and take a look at the Day 2 ships, which should be Roberts Space Industries. And the purpose of the stream today, of course, is to discuss CitizenCon 2019. And I want to kind of involve you in what you thought about things that could be anything you saw in any of the presentations or details of those presentations, ships, whatever. The sky's the limit. Now, I do want to make these Monday streams a very common thing. I want to open these up as an opportunity for you to discuss the things that are concerning to you in Star Citizen or the things that you like. A lot of times on the forum boards, things can get drowned out, and basically sometimes well, let's just face it, it doesn't take much to get silenced or temporary banned if you hold the wrong opinion. I've been subject to that 13 times now, and sometimes you have to go and try alternate venues. Now, of course, I am moving off of YouTube largely because of this whole COPPA thing, and I am just, you know, it's just a mess. It's just a mess. And I think, did I go to the right place? I probably did not go to the right place. I'm not paying attention. I'm talking and not paying attention. But, let's see here. Yep. Went to the wrong place. Oh, well. Oh, whatever. Let's take a ride back. This is just scenery anyway. So, I got to see a bit of the V4 Planet Tech, and I'm absolutely blown away by it. It's really nice to see how far the whole planetary systems have come, and hopefully with the new tech they can reduce the amount of rocks on planets, because let's face it, driving wheeled vehicles right now is a real pain in the ass. There's been quite a few videos I've made where we've gotten our vehicles stuck sometimes within 100 feet of a station. It doesn't take much. And while it's nice to have that kind of detail, you can overdo something like that. Now, when they showed the snow from the actual presentation, I am curious to see it. I kept trying to look down. I was trying to see, and I thought I did, but it looked like maybe that their feet were actually traversing into the snow. Not just on it, but into it. They may have actually been kicking up snow like you would if you were to, you know, actually walk in a snowbank. So if that's the case, I'm very impressed. And I also wonder with the new tech if they're going to be able to do seasons and things like that. I would very much like to see seasons on planets where things are not static, though I don't expect to see that for some time. All right, as always, if you have questions or anything, just leave them down below. Type them into the chat. Hopefully I will see them. In fact, if someone is watching right now, could you type something in the chat to make sure that chat is actually working for me? You can just smash the keyboard with your face. It's all good. No takers? Ah, thank you, Hemi. Appreciate that. Now, one of the big things that can be a double-edged sword to me was the combined arms. Now, for a while now, I've stated that Arena Commander is too small of a testing ground to do anything effective. It's really outgrown its usefulness, so kind of like Port Olisar. So, one of the things that I guess you could say was the most concerning to me, the way that players behave largely depends upon the consequences of their actions. If they make combined arms with the idea of infinite respawns or even group respawn tickets, people are gonna act much differently than, say, if you had, let's say, 3 respawns per round. Because they said there was 3 rounds. There was a ground version, like a ground vehicles. There was one with the air vehicles versus ground would open up, and then you go into space. So you have those 3 phases. Now, with limited lives, people will move differently. They'll be more careful. You'll see people running around doing medical things, trying to get people back up. But if they have unlimited respawns, it's a whole different animal. And they won't get the pacing and the testing they need to see if things are operating correctly. Basically, if you want to test things like ship repairs, medical, squad tactics, why would you want to repair a ship when you can just dive bomb into somebody, explode, get another ship, and go right back into battle? What's the advantage to that? So they need to take it a little bit more seriously in the regards to those respawns, because if they want to use this as a test bed for the persistent universe, then they need to be sure that as closely as possible, while still giving some semblance of the quick arena matches that they want, they need to match that, to some degree, that level of fatality. Otherwise, it's a different animal. I mean, think if you were to play Counter-Strike. Now, Counter-Strike, you die, you're out. Now, what if you were to make Counter-Strike with, with respawns? Basically, it just becomes Call of Duty, right? It's a different animal. And one of the good things about the combined arms, it's a very pretty ship. I think this ship looks very much like a Star Trek ship with those nacelles on the top. But one of the things with combined arms I think will expose is the problems with the point-and-click targeting, like interactive mode, when you're interacting with ground forces with your ships. Hopefully, some of these problems that we've talked about for a while, where things aren't going to blend because of the nature of them, will become apparent. I don't know how apparent they're going to be, though, if they basically allow infinite respawns and stuff like that. People will just, oh, I'm dead, I'm going to run back in. Oh, I'm dead, I'm going to run back in. They really need to treat this part of it seriously. But the fact that they can set up these different kind of scenarios very quickly means that they can try all sorts of different things, like 2 multi-crew capital ships battling out with fighters going at it, engaging one another while a wave of bombers comes in. And they can make that a whole scenario by itself using the in-game assets. So we can get some real good scenarios for testing multi-crew. And I just hope that they don't treat it kind of the way that, for the large part, they've abandoned Arena Commander. I always thought, for example, Arena Commander needed to have its boundaries significantly increased in size when the 64-bit... Is this thing going to come down and crush me? Oh, good, it isn't. It's a bad place for a button. Goodness, it's a very bad place for a button. Use the crouch down and use the button. There we go. It's a pretty nice ship. It's a lot of big interior, though, for like one person. Anyway, so as I said, I want to open up the floor. There's clearly some people here. If you wanted to go ahead and talk about anything I just said, or ask a question, or talk about something that you saw that you were concerned about, such as the change to the details and the graphics on the Carrack, which still looked largely, even though they had some massive changes, it still looked rather gray box to me. And it very much may have been the case because there wasn't a lot of detail on the hull. It seemed like just large, smooth panels. Like this ship here has infinitely more detail than I saw on that Carrack. And I just don't know why they made such a massive change to it. The last time they showed the Carrack in around the verse or whatever it's called this month, it looked almost dead on to the original concept, and people were just blown away by it. But to see what came out was not even in the ballpark. It was, I guess you could say, it was almost vanguarded. And I'm not exactly sure what caused that kind of a change. It would have been nice if they had explained. Yeah, I mean, I agree. It was a little ugly. Now you say, "Oh, this is the new Carrack. This is the old Carrack." Fine, give me the option. Give me the option to get the old one or something. I don't know. But the old one had a lot more character. And if they just come out and said, "Hey, you know, it's too big to fit in this landing pad or whatever," fine. And if I have to land in the largest pad, I have to land in the largest pad. The Carrack's not a ship that's supposed to be dependent upon going to civilizations. It's, you know, it's one that's made to go out there. So I don't always need to land at an official landing pad. Yeah, I mean, I see them coming back, Freeman. I see them coming back and having to rework that again. I think the outrage on that's going to be pretty real. It needs to be chiseled down, and I don't know what the hell happened to those engines. It used to have a very iconic engine set on it, and it looks a little bit like a Star Destroyer now. Not that I don't like Star Destroyers, but it very much looks like they ripped it right out of Star Wars. Turn on my head tracking here. I think I need to recenter. There we go. That's not a bad view. Turn that back off, guys. It's a little annoying in first person. But yeah, it really felt like, you know, when I talked about the Carrack, I used to call it the copy paste ship, because it really felt like they just took the parts off. Oh, we're gonna take the tail off the Retaliator. We're gonna take this off the what's that Aegis ship? I got too many ships. The Eclipse, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, the point is that they basically just pulled parts off of the other ships, slapped it on, and it was like, we had quick turnaround. It's like, yeah, but you killed the soul of it. And how many years was it? Like 2 years where they went back and revamped it for all the complaints, and like, oh, we're going to put the treads back on, and we're going to do all these things and really make it look like it was supposed to. And I'm glad that they did it. It just seems like something they should have done from the beginning. I really was hoping I'd see a Polaris here this year. I mean, that's my baby. I would like to see even just a gray mock-up in here. Just, here's the size of it. Last year when they had this ship thing going on, my brother and I, Lightning Dragon, we walked around. They would only draw in one ship. And so our entire experience, the entire time, I got to see the upgraded 300i series, and nothing else drew in. The Idris didn't draw in, nothing drew in. It was just basically a empty room. And it was very frustrating because I really, really wanted to see it. It's true. It does lack some of the oomph. I expect there to be some changes to concept art to live. I mean, that's within reason. Sometimes, you know, when the rubber meets the road, things have to change a little bit. But what they did to, you know, the Carrack is a bit more than just the rubber meeting the road. It's just completely and totally just smoothing it out. I mean, it's not even, I just don't get it. I don't get it. I do like the fact the turrets shot out in the side a little bit, and I wish that when they would show turret demonstrations, first of all, the guy was using a gamepad to control turrets. I don't think anyone here is going to use a gamepad to run the turrets, because it's just not very accurate. And he was shooting at the ship, not the lead indicator. But let's face it, the AI was flying very poorly. And I get they do that for demonstration so that the ship doesn't get blown up. But it's like, hey, I'm going to roll to the right. And I'm going to keep coming at you. And I'm going to barrel roll to the right again. Yeah, it's just, there's certain controls that are really good for certain things. And Rattlehead, like no one's thinking that you should, like, I'm playing the FPS portion right now. I'm not using a joystick. I'm not using the gamepad. Given the options, it's insane. And, you know, when CIG a while ago, they said, hey, we're going to try to make the gamepad, you know, on par with the mouse and everything else like that. And I'm like, you're insane. That just isn't how that works. You can't do that. Nobody's been able to bridge that gap between first order and zero order. You design the controls for how you want them to, you know, what it is you're trying to simulate. If it's a vehicle, you want to do something like, you know, like first order. If you're doing something like FPS or turrets, then zero order is perfectly fine. And there's ways to mitigate the effectiveness of them by, for example, slew rates on turrets and things like that. Yeah, gamepad is, you know, I think the only gamepad that might be worth a damn, honestly, the Steam one, you know, that one that's got you touch it. I heard that one is extremely accurate, because it's kind of like a mouse pad to some degree, like the ones you'd have on a laptop or whatnot. That one might be worth it. But yeah, the idea that, like, no joystick player, and I can't imagine any gamepad player saying, hey, you know, if I got a mouse sitting here, I don't want to use that for don't want to use that for the FPS. I want to grab my Gunfighter Pro here, and I want to go ahead and do FPS. That's just ridiculous. And of course, you know, mouse can simulate first order, so mouse can do fine for flight. It just needs to have a good virtual stick, which we don't have. And so I'm just saying, these are all old issues we've hashed on this channel for a long time, and it's still mind-numbingly crazy to me that we still haven't even gotten something such as a good virtual stick in the game yet. So I really want to see that what the game can accomplish with good controls, which obviously we still don't have. Was there any fight talk this con? No, they didn't. The flight talk? No. They avoided it completely. It was very apparent that wasn't any sort of, like, I think we've gotten more videos on sound direction this year than we have on flight. We've gotten more videos on new FPS guns than we have on flight. Now, I know a lot of people weren't a fan of the VTOL mode that was removed. I personally found it wasn't terrible. The problem I found with it was that the controls were wonky. For example, strafing up and down. It should have been, if you're in VTOL, it should have been main throttle to go up and down, like a helicopter or a Harrier. And it's like the controls didn't swap over. They didn't align with even the basics that you would find in a game like Grand Theft Auto. And because they hadn't emphasized or moved into pitch and roll, what should I take here? I don't know. Anyway, so they didn't move into pitch and roll like I felt they should have. I'll just take the Avenger. You can't go wrong with the Avenger. When you're trying to roll to the right in order to slide to the right, you were using the Q and E keys. Now, they have infinite jerk, so that's very binary. It's very digital. And so what would happen is that people couldn't make those fine adjustments to slip and slide. They would just, you know, it was very chaotic. So without changing the control methodology to, as Chris Roberts has mentioned several times, pitch and roll, pitch and roll, pitch and roll, but they're still treating the control methodology as, you know, pitch and yaw. This is not very helpful. See, I think it was 3. It caused a disconnect with that whole system. I don't have an 890, Hammy. That's one of the ships I don't have. I have 45 ships. I thought it was 44. Then I remembered I had a Pisces. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess it's 45. 45 ships, 15 ground vehicles, and 890 jump is not one of them. Closest thing I have to a luxury ship is the 600i Explorer. I thought about maybe upgrading. Come on, open up. I thought about maybe upgrading that one to something else. Since my brother has the Prospector and Lightning has the Orion, I'm thinking of maybe getting that mid-tier mining ship, upgrading my Prospector to that mid-tier. That way, when my brother's online playing solo, he can mine. When we're on together, it's just my brother and I, or Lightning and I, grab the mid-tier one. And when we're all on together, it's Orion time. That way, we got to kind of cover all the bases. Yeah, I got the seat in Arena Commander. I launched it there because as much as that kind of worked. So I do like it. I think it's a nicely designed ship. I didn't get to see the panel on the new mining ship. I don't know if did any of you see that one at all? Because I unfortunately worked nights. I got home. I slept 2 hours. I woke up and started watching what panels I could from the beginning. So I had to sleep sometime. In fact, I set my alarm to the time it said the stream started on the website, and it was already going when I woke up, so I don't know what the heck happened there. Oh yeah, that's what's going on here. There we go. That's better. Whoa! Did they close a door on me? Crime committed, vehicle collection. What? What is going on? Why is there... Star Citizen! What is it? What is going on? Someone explain this madness to me. Why is there a ship on top of me as I'm trying to get out of the bay? What the hell? No! 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 All I want to do is take off. Is that too much to ask for? Is that too much to ask for? Come on! Open the... What is going on? Open! Oh my gosh, what the hell? I can't imagine if my ship is wrecked at this point in time. Alright, come on. Come on. Nope. Yes, this is the random chaos that is Star Citizen. Yeah, I know, it's a crime. Someone's parked above me. It's all my bad. It's a hammerhead. It's a hammerhead above me? It's a freaking hammerhead. Why was a hammerhead crammed into my small parking space? Oh, that's nice. That's lovely. I didn't need my tail anyway. And I committed the crime. I committed the crime. But the guy with the hammerhead was packed in there. Alright, anyway. Jeez Louise. It's an insurance claim for Jarvis. Let's fly around on my broke-ass ship until I run into an invisible building. Which is inevitable. If we don't fit, force it. Had a bug creeper, yeah, you might be right. Let's turn my head tracking on here. Oh, it's all wonky now. It's center right here. Alright, so as I said, combined arms, good, but it depends on their implementation. And I was very happy, and I kind of predicted this a while ago that we would see a jump point being used finally. Pyro looked amazing. What we got to see of it anyway. It looks very ominous. And I was glad that they kept the original vision. Back in the day, they had shown us early works. They showed a gladiator going through a tunnel for the quantum for the jump point. And I was concerned that they wouldn't follow that same one. It looked very much on par. It kind of looked like it was almost, for lack of better words, it looked like you were going through a big space intestine. It was kind of like, bleh, bleh, kind of pulsing and throbbing, and I don't know. It was kind of creepy, but in a good way. It looked very much like it was alive, and yeah, it was. I'm glad that didn't change. And now, what was concerning to me a little bit was the fact that they had the. I remember them originally saying something like that. The jump points would have, and maybe it was just the exits, but the entrances or the exits or whatnot, they wouldn't always be static. And what we saw there was a very static location. Now maybe that's just some locations. Maybe some are static and some move around a bit. I don't know. The problem with the static locations, at least as far as exits go, is that, look, I own a Nautilus. How hard is it going to be for me to drop mines at the other end of that? You just go through. We drop some mines once you get out. You sit back, eat some popcorn, and, laugh your ass off as some guy comes out, gets spat out into a minefield. So I'm hoping that there's some way to prevent that, or that there are ones that are not static. They basically throw you out in the system in a general, I don't know, 20,000 kilometer area. It doesn't, you know, and then the entrance kind of moves around a little bit too. Because otherwise, unless these areas are heavily patrolled, you're going to have a lot of trolling going on. It's going to be brutal. That's the first thing that came to my mind. Yeah, it's possible they would have turrets. You're absolutely right. It's possible they have some defenses of some kind to prevent that, or at least some sort of, even in a pirate system, you would imagine that the pirates would have their own, for lack of better words, their own police force that would prevent that from happening, prevent people from doing that, because they have to, even if they're pirates, they have to do trade. They have to get from system to system. They don't need that kind of thing. Maybe it'll be like a passive truce that the pirates won't do that, and they'll keep those points clear. Yeah, I think there was a station in the range of that gate, so you know that's very possible that's the case. So, but it is a concern, and I hope it's something that they keep in mind as they're developing this. I didn't get to see the prison gameplay, but I am glad that there are some ramifications there. Now, the last game I played that had any prison gameplay was a game called Arcade. And basically in that game, when you were caught doing a crime and you were arrested effectively, you would go on trial and players were the jury, and they would determine your sentence and you would go to jail. There was always a way to escape the jail and whatnot. That's the part that concerns me. I don't want people who go to jail to just always have oh yeah, if I turn this dial and I pick this and I do this, I'm out of jail. Because that removes the whole as you can say, the punishment for going to jail. If it just becomes a fun mini game, then let's just go to jail because I feel like breaking out today. I think lighter sentences. I think if you break out of jail, your sentence should obviously your crime rating should go up. Like okay, say like you're in a general population and it's not on lockdown. You can move around a bit. You break out. You get arrested again, you get put into an ISO cube, Judge Dredd style, and you just sit there until your time is done. You have a toothpaste, you have a toothbrush, and that's about it. Yeah, store owner stopped serving. Yeah, well, there's a lot of little things like now I'm surprised I didn't get a crime stat from the Hammerhead. I think I got fined, which is just awesome, but. Yeah, eventually you get up to a certain point, people just don't talk to you. And I totally get that. That's cool too. But I'm talking about, the prison gameplay. They need to make sure that escaping it is not easy and that it takes multiple people to do it. It takes coordinated effort. Well, fortunately for me, I've never seen Guardians of the Galaxy. I know. What am I thinking, right? My brother's seen it, but I haven't seen it. I don't have a lot of time for movies. I have to admit, though, I did see The Joker twice, but I made time for that. But I work a lot of hours sometimes. Sometimes I'm at my job 12 plus hours a day. Going to movies isn't optimal. But if it is a straight rip-off from Guardians of the Galaxy, that might be an interesting thing for me to look up on YouTube. If I don't want to actually ruin my experience with the movie for the first time I see it. Because I heard it is good. Yeah, Tyler there. Yeah, can you tell him to go see that movie? Yeah, well, it'll happen. It's just not right now. I plan on once I get everything settled in, finishing that whole Marvel stuff. Seeing out Guardians of the Galaxy, finishing all the Avengers, and then I'm going to be done with Endgame, and then I'm going to be okay, done buying movies. I have a pretty good movie collection. I want to finish it up and be done with it now, since most of the stuff I can get digitally anyway. All right, so anyone else have any questions or anything that they thought about? Anything they saw at all that was concerning to them? I mean, it wasn't a bad presentation overall. I think overall it was a very positive one. I have to admit the sneaking portion of the game was rather weak. Obviously, they need to work on picking up and placing items, those grates and stuff like that. That looked kind of wonky, but right now, I remember them showing that they were working on technology, making placing things more organic and more natural. Clearly, that's not implemented yet. And, of course, the big news, 3.8 is going to be getting the first iteration of server-side OCS. I think all of us can breathe a collective sigh of relief on that one, because it has been the bottleneck to so many things. And I think the bottleneck goes to interacting with AI, testing dogfighting, even shooting at one another. If they can get us so that, you know, autopilot, I must be close to, what's going on? No. What's going on? All right, well, whatever. So anyway, if I ever get to fly again, I guess it's gonna kill me or something. I didn't see. Oh, there we go. All right, good. All right, no. So I guess I was under the line. I didn't know. Okay, well now I know. So yeah, there's been so many things like, you know, if you're shooting at a target or even at another player, the inaccuracy from the latency and lag issues have made testing anything related to flight in the persistent universe really kind of hit or miss when it comes to interactions. All right, so you see here, you're concerned about the weather effects and impact to vision. The demo basically showed the drive using third person to drive because the first person blocked too much. You know, you're right, and that's why I think they need to do stuff like have like where you can switch screens to like heat or whatever. You know, you have different kinds of vision modes. But you know, also to be honest with you, if it's that hard to see, my recommendation would be typically to drive a bit slower. They were kind of bum rushing it for the demo, and they already knew where they were going clearly. Otherwise, you know, when I was watching that, I was like, you know, even knowing where they were going, I'm pretty sure that the tension was there, because you could kind of tell by Chris, he was worried they were going to hit a tree or something, and so yeah, you're right. It was blinding though. It was very blinding, but beautiful. I mean, it was very beautiful. And it was nice to see the effects on the windshield, the water droplets. I can remember the first time I saw that in DCS. It was just very cool, and it does add a lot. Oh yeah, the snow. I mean, now you watched the snow demonstration. I kept trying to look at the feet. Did you see what I saw? Like the feet were going through the snow, or was that just me? Because it looked like to me that the feet were actually going into the snow, not just on the snow. I did like the hypothermia too. I thought that was pretty badass. Yeah. The fast driving was just for action-packed excitement demonstration thing. It was really no other reason to do it than that. I mean, they were already in the clear. If it was gameplay and you were away from the base and you were in that storm, nobody was going to find you. Yeah. They definitely need more visuals in that regard, as far as life, death, health problems, stuff like that. Now I know that this is kind of a concern. They were talking about a little while ago when you take shots, when you're hit with a round, your body's going to jerk, and they need to be careful with that, because if you make it too severe, basically the first shot's going to win. You're going to get air juggled, effectively speaking. I don't know if you remember back in the day, I used to play the original Marvel vs. Capcom. I think it was, I can't remember which character it was. Maybe it was Magneto. You could air juggle somebody forever. And so basically, the same kind of thing is that, like, if you have a thing where your body's getting hit and you're jiggling and you can't get your gun on target, you just, you basically you're just dead. There's nothing you can do. So when they come to these, these status effects, taking damage, health problems, all of that, they do need to implement them, but they also need to be careful that they don't over-implement them. I love this planet. I really do. I really want to see the new no-fly zones, hopefully something a lot less obtrusive. To me, the idea that I can't a lot of times fly more down into these buildings, I really want to do that. And, you're just going to run into that red wall eventually, like right there. I want to get lower than this. And I'm hoping, by the way, and I don't know if they showed it because I said I missed that part, with the Planet V4 tech, I'm hoping that includes this planet a little bit, because I would like to see some of the character that came out on the original demonstration. Remember the original one when they went out into space? It had all these, it wasn't just lines, it had these circles and it had these territories and districts, and it looked amazing. I know it was a mock-up. But I would like to see, right now when you approach it from space, it's very much just lines. It's very much just a grid. And I think it lost that semi-organic look that you had. Like, yeah, it's a man-made city, but they kind of just built things in, like they built general, like, a building, this section was built with a purpose, and then this section over here was built with a purpose, and then eventually like they just filled in the gaps. So you have like these parts that are very different than the others, and then everything else kind of fills in. Yeah, you're right. Lack of showing anything like salvage, refuel, repair. Right, they didn't even talk about it. And exactly, you're right. And you know, I have a ship that relates to every one of those categories. My brother has the Gemini, or the Gemini, the Starfarer. Yeah, Starfarer Gemini. I think it's the big one. Anyways, he's got that. I've got the little one that uses the refueling of drones. I've got the Crucible. I have, of course, the Reclaimer. I have the Vulture. So I've got all that. So those are definitely gameplay types that are concerning to me. I do want to see them implemented, but I also don't want to see them implemented poorly. And let's just face it, guys. As far as those mechanics go, they are on the back burner. And that's because you're not going to be doing them in Squadron 42. I think right now they're pushing heavy focus into Squadron 42. When I looked at the Squadron 42 roadmap, what I saw was them falling behind on that. So I think what they've done, generally speaking, is they said, okay, what have we got on this roadmap for the persistent universe that absolutely does not have to be in Squadron 42? And they just stripped it out because they're trying to focus more and more on Squadron 42. Squadron 42 is a make or break for them in a lot of regards. It is going to be what drives the funding to make the PU go the rest of the way, in a lot of sense. But they also need to be careful with things like, you know, man, I'm not even at the thing. Why are you doing this to me? Maybe I am under. I don't know. Oh, yes, I am under. I can't even see that. That's weird. It's like I hit like a hard base there. But yeah, there is a lot of. I guess you could say they're kind of in crunch time. But that was the part that concerned me the most, was that like here you are coming down to a game that Squadron 42 is a flying game. Yeah, there's gonna be some ground aspects, but it's a flying game. Don't you think that should be priority at some point in time? I know they keep going back, and how many times have they reinvented the wheel, but they always use the same methodology and end up back in the same place. And it would be nice if they tried things like high speeds and low accelerations as opposed to low speeds and high accelerations. And you know, they tried things like, you know, rotational acceleration, actually putting jerk back in, a better throttle system, something that's more akin to an actual throttle instead of a cruise control. You know, you've got issues like obviously the controller methodology that they've implemented. The fact that the weapon projectile velocities, they want to have close combat, but they have projectile velocities that only promote, you know, long distance sniper fighting for the most part. There's just a lot of problems that are in there that that's like they've chosen the wrong direction on almost every one of those aspects. You have the Vulture and Apollo? All right. Right. Basic. Well, once again, multi-crew functionality. We're talking about basic universal multi-crew functionality is not even in, because they can fake it in Squadron 42. See, they don't actually have to make that work for Squadron 42 at all. All they need to do is have a scripted event, and it'll happen. So because of that, that's going to be on the back burner too. But this, in a lot of regards, you know, you talk about the pacing required to make multi-crew work, or to even like, you know, you're in the middle of a fight and I want to run these systems, or I need to do something. The pacing needs to be, you know, in such a manner that I can actually have a moment to use any of this. And if you're just basically swinging around firing nonstop, then, you know, you can't make those adjustments. So flight has to be a bit more complex to go with the complex systems. Oh my gosh, yes, the economy panel. Tony Zurovec. Are you talking about the quanta and quantum thing? Oh, dude. I wonder what happens if I run out of fuel. I actually never ran out of fuel before. Let's find out. Anyway, so that was mind-blowing. That was mind-blowing. I want to watch that one again. Talk about that man is inspirational. That man could make you want to build a skyscraper, and you haven't gone to engineering school. Tony Z is amazing. Well, flight is crap because, you know, how many times have I seen that the devs talk about, you know, even John Cruz talk about, oh, you get your quick shooter fix. I'm like, what part of Star Citizen is a quick shooter fix? I mean, what part of this to you screams quick shooter fix? Does any what I'm doing right now say we should be running around killing each other waiting for respawns. And I don't, the mentality that we have being presented constantly is this idea that, you know, instant gratification. Now, this is why I'm all for the idea of the combined arms, because it will give them some level of instant gratification, but at the same time, it needs to, if they want all the flight stuff to match from mode to mode, they still need to make this right here work. And it's just that the combined arms will condense everything down to a smaller area, forcing a conflict, which in the persistent universe will not always be the case. Yeah, quick shooter does not equate to the ability to make a coffee and then take a break, quote unquote, while in quantum travel. Exactly. Yeah, or survival mechanics, or picking plants up off the ground, or walking down into a tunnel to harvest resources. None of that is shooter philosophy. Oxygen levels in your ship. I mean, what does it matter? You know, if you're going to blow up in 2 seconds. You know, running out of fuel. What's the, you know, other than boost fuel? I mean, who would care, right? So it's a matter of okay. I think we're seeing now. Once again, I want to make this very clear. I don't think any of these issues are David Coulson's fault. It's the same way that I don't think that any of the issues before were John Pritchett's fault. What I see is they were, you know, John Pritchett is extremely intelligent. David Coulson is extremely intelligent. In fact, I love the resolution he's had for resolving a lot of the issues with the Gravlev bikes. I think he's come up with some very innovative ways of doing it that actually make them feel decent. But garbage in, garbage out. If you throw in certain rates, certain values into the best physics engine you can get your hands on, you're going to end up with garbage. And they keep going back to the same trough each and every time and wondering why they're eating slop. So I'm just hoping that this is the year that they actually, with that combined arms, that it starts to smack them upside the face like a big old baseball bat, that they got a problem. Because I think anyone that watches the channel knows that when they start bringing this stuff together and some guy can just fly over and put his mouse cursor over you as you're trying to take cover on the ground, he can just literally just click on you and kill you, that's going to get aggravating really fast. And I think you're going to see a lot of people being upset that there's nowhere to hide. There is no cover to have when someone can basically just put their cursor over you as they're flying by in their Buccaneer and just pop you in the face. So without having to have that skill where someone has to make, you know, a big sweeping strafing run to come back on the troops they're trying to, it's going to turn it into basically just suicide. You're going to be, if you're on the ground, you're dead. That's all that's going to be. You know, unless you got a ballista covering you. And by the way, about that another issue, that, yeah, they said the ballista was powerful, but missile mechanics are kind of garbage right now, and countermeasures really don't work. So I would imagine that if you fire giant super missiles that can't be dodged, or it can't be, you can't use a countermeasure against, yeah, I imagine it would be pretty powerful. But once you get the proper mechanics in, you know, if you do it the right way, it should balance out pretty well. Yeah, you're talking about the combined arms. Yeah, you're talking about the combined arms, Rattlehead. That's what we're talking about. The where basically everything comes. It's 3 phases, and everything gets blended together. And so, while I'm for the base idea of that for testing everything, once again, with unlimited respawns, it's going to destroy the purpose of it. No one's going to move tactically. No one, like look at Star Marine right now. If you had, let's say, 3 spawns on a match, do you think that people would play differently? Do you think that you would see a difference in the way that players move in Star Marine if they didn't just have, it wasn't just running and gunning, getting points, capturing territories, and running to the next location? I guarantee you would see a different attitude and a different way that people approach that game. It changes everything. So once again, if they don't do something like that in the combined arms, they will make it a rather invalid test bed for a lot of important pacing requirements. And at some point, they need to understand that a test bed needs to replicate that which they're trying to test. Because sometimes it really feels like they're falling short. That's a really pretty building. Look at that. I like that. Kind of the one with the squares over here. That's really cool looking. No off subject there, but gotta enjoy artistic beauty where it is. That's really cool. But yeah, those are some of my general thoughts on it. And I'm hoping they release some more of those videos. Oh, and by the way, I am planning on making this Monday stream thing a constant thing. What I want it to be, guys, is I want it to be a weekly get-together where you can discuss things that are concerning you. Things on the forums, things on the shows, anything at all. See, since YouTube is basically crapping all over everybody here shortly, I thought, I can up this game. I can still make the Blastcast and put them on the BitChute. And the link is in the description, by the by, if you haven't subbed. And if it's not your thing, you don't like BitChute, totally get it. But if I get enough subscribers here and I'm able to upload, I'll start uploading shows and videos to Twitch. So once we get to that point, I'll start uploading things here. And it'll, if you don't want to go to BitChute, you'll always have this. So anyway, I want to kind of make this a weekly thing. And on Thursdays, we just play whatever. It could be me. It could be me enlightening. But basically, it's just we grab a random game. We just play. And we talk about whatever. That one's sky's limit, so I call it a random cast. Just whatever. But this one, I want to make this a 5 p.m. Eastern time every week until my job says otherwise. Event where we get together and you have a chance to vent in a way that's not going to get some 300 people ramming down your throat, screaming at you that how you just want DCS in space or something like that. Yeah. I mean, they did. I have to admit, the combined arms thing is incredible. The fact that they can take any asset they have that they develop in the persistent universe from now on and basically make PlanetSide 3 out of it as I guess you say a short-term PlanetSide, like an arena-based, is impressive. I mean, it is literally infinite possibilities, infinite maps, infinite game modes. All it takes is markers, buildings, locations, boom, round made. And if they do it right enough, it could, technically speaking, I can see them eventually making it completely random, where it spools up a random map in a random location with random objectives on a random planet in a random verse, and then boom, people are playing at this new location, new map every time, completely new experience. It could be done. Yeah, Ilphonic had some good stuff going on with it, but I'll be honest with you, when I saw the interviews from Ilphonic back in the days, I could see they were not happy doing the job. I remember doing the interviews with them, and I kept thinking, these guys do not seem excited to be working on this at all. They seem to be like upset. I don't know if it was internal politics or whatever, but I could tell by watching them that they were not happy campers. And I just had a feeling that was going to go south eventually. Something felt off about it when I was watching those interviews. They had all the excitement of they were like, yeah, we were developing some shooting stuff. Yeah, and it's stuff, and we're developing it. It was the opposite of what everyone else was doing. The videos are still going to be a thing. Absolutely, Rattlehead. They're going to be a thing. I want to kind of up this up a little bit. I think it's fair to give you guys a chance to get your voice out there. Maybe we can discuss things. I'm not always going to be right. I mean, golly, I'm a human being as much as anybody else, and this streaming thing. Let me just tell you a little bit something about myself. I am a massive introvert. I work nights to avoid people. It's just that simple. I work nights so that I can basically, at night, I study philosophy, history, politics, whatever I get my hands on, because it's quiet. And that's me. That's what I do. No one bothers me, and I'm good with that. And those are my passions, But the thing is that, so this is really me being as most out of my shell as I can possibly humanly be. I mean, this is really not who I am, or at least normally. So bear with me as I struggle through learning this process, because talking to mass amounts of people or dealing with that is definitely not. What the hell is with that building? That's weird. It's like it got slimed. That's cool. No, I don't want to get into my personal life too much. I don't really do anything. I talk about what I used to teach. I used to teach in Japan for a while. I went to college in Japan. I taught kids there. Right now, I'm back in the States. I'm helping out a family member. There was basically a situation, and my brother can attest to this. He's Captain Tyler. That my stepfather left my mother in a world of hurt. Basically, she would be homeless if I didn't come back from and give up my career in Japan to keep her from living in a box. So I'm basically living in a Timbuktu, no place town, trying my best to keep her from, get her back on her feet. And when that's done, I don't know where I'll go next. Maybe I'm thinking Ireland, Scotland. I don't know. I'm gonna pick. I like to go different countries. I want to see different places. Last time I lived in Japan, maybe I'll pick a different country, But right now, I got to take care of the family issues. I got to help her out. I've got to get her back on her feet, and then I'll go from there. But this is a long-standing process, and in this little town, there is no work. The job that you can get, it's crap. I went to the job centers for 6 months, and every place I went to around here said, "You're overqualified. You're overqualified. You're overqualified," and no one would talk to me. So took what I could get, frankly. But it is what it is. I'll get her stabilized. I'll get her so she's doesn't end up living in a box, and then I will pack up and head out to the next frontier. Or maybe I'll head to Tennessee and help my brother out, if Tyler's still there. Oh yeah, Russian? That'd be challenging. I think the hardest part for Japanese for me is I can only learn like 400 kanji, but there's like 10,600 something like that they use, and it takes them like I think 8 to 10 years to learn all their kanji, like to use it effectively, because you have like hiragana, which is the default language, and then you have a default language sounds like a, I, u, e, o, ka, ki, ku, ke, ko, and then you have katakana, which is the same sounds, but they use it for like words like computer, so that they denote that it's a foreign word. And then you have the furigana, which is basically hiragana written to the side of kanji, because kanji is so complex. And so a lot of times, if you're out there, you're relying on the furigana because this kanji is just way too much. It's way too much. And so anyway, it's one of those things that I like living in Japan. Though I have to admit, the greatest part to me was, I'll give you an example. I like going to places where you don't know what's going to happen. You walk around the corner, you don't know what's going to be. So we were out. We used to use these gigantic driving range golf courses to kind of navigate around because they stick up everywhere. So we knew, hey, we go towards that one and take a left. We're heading back towards that place. And so anyway, we were out and about. We got completely lost, and we saw a Toys R Us. And buildings in Japan, like those kind of places, they're multiple stories, and so. We were like, it's like 3 or 4 story Toys R Us back before. I don't think Toys R Us exists anymore. This was like 1999, 2000. Anyway, so the thing is that like we went to, it was like, well, we don't really feel like taking the stairs or whatever. We're going to ask for directions in the building next to it. We didn't know what the building was. We didn't know what it meant. We walked in, and I kid you not, it was a brothel. All these women stood in front of us and were like, we're going to go to the Toys R Us. So it was one of those things that was like, I guess that was the Toys R Us for the big kids next to the Toys R Us for the little kids. So that's the thing I really like about, going to other places is that, it's the adventure. It's not knowing what's, and that's the part that excites me about Star Citizen, the exploration part, the adventure, not knowing what's going to be out there. And that's why I want that gameplay to be sufficient. I want it to be deep enough to matter. Don't let the game degenerate into a Twitch shooter fest where you spend a week trying to explore a location that has some guy come by and go scream, I kills you, and he just comes by and like 360 no scopes you into oblivion. But yeah, it's one of those things that life sometimes is as far as my career and stuff goes, is complex. And right now my priority is always going to be to make sure that my family's taken care of first. I have no interest in getting married. I have no interest in any of that. It's not for me. It's not for me. But, by helping my brother or helping out my family, if that's what I have to do, that's what I do. And that's where I am right now. And when I don't need to do that, I'll pack up, head out to another location. I'm pretty easy to please. I'm a minimalist. As long as I have a bed and a roof, I'm good. Yeah, I'm in my Avenger, at least what's left of it, after a hammerhead parked above me as I pulled out. And then I got smashed into it on the way out of because it was jammed into my exit, and then I got fined for ramming a ship. Anyway, good times. I couldn't fly my Pisces, if you didn't catch that earlier. Because I upgraded it from on my Carrack because apparently the 4 guns is a bug on the base model. You have to upgrade it. It only gives you an extra Avenger right now. It doesn't give you lets you fly the Pisces until they fix it. Yeah, it'll buff out. This is all good. So you walked into a plaza expecting a shopping complex, having the same people from. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, you know, walking into a place you don't know. Oh, dude, the Avenger Rattlehead is one of the best ships in the game. Honestly, it's the first upgrade ship I tell everybody. I say, I know I got 2% fuel left. I'm curious to see what happens. Do you think I should land it, or think I should just fly this thing all the way down to the Earth? No, I don't want to blow it up. You know, that's not going to go anywhere. I'm curious. I gotta see. I'm at 1%. It's fuel takes. Limiting your maneuvering your fuel over time. All right. It says limit my fueling. All right. I limit my maneuvering. It says I might survive. Oh yeah, Avenger's the only ship you still have. What'd you do? Did you gray market the other ones? Because I'm kind of curious about that. I know a lot of people that actually have. Hydrogen fuel at 0%. Either that means I can't turn, or I don't know. It doesn't seem to affect too much. I'm still flying, so all right. Well, whatever that means, I guess. So we determined that fuel means absolutely nothing. I'm at 0% fuel. All right, so I'm never refueling again. We'll call that good. Well, let's find out. Yeah, that's it. I just have no afterburner. But I'm not falling out of the sky. It's not like when I was flying the F5E in DCS, where I just suddenly it's like, oh, yeah, that's right. This plane sucks for fuel. Gosh, look at that. I mean, look at the sunsets they have in this game. This is just gorgeous. As I said, the art guys are great. The sound guys are great. I can't praise that enough. Just, man, flight. Let's make it work. I shouldn't be doing this to turn. This, no. No. Yeah, deep reserve tanks. That's probably what the toilets are for. Yeah, but I'm hoping that the next iteration comes in and we get to see some semblance of that V2L mode coming back. As I said, I think they stripped it out prematurely, but anyway, guys, so I guess that's about an hour. I didn't realize I've been talking that long, so like Utana, but it kind of sucks for flying, but I love the look. Yeah. Yeah, so many people, you're right, don't care about flight. And that's what really, it's really weird. It's absolutely weird. It's I don't think, here's my just the general thoughts I guess I can close out on. And I think we can say that the CitizenCon was generally speaking a success. There are some things that I think, like the Carrack, that could have come out better. But I think a lot of backers, a lot of people who backed early on, they're silent, or they're just waiting to hear Squadron 42 or whatever is in a playable state. And they just have walked away until they hear differently. I think that when Squadron 42 comes out, when they say, here's the first 3 missions, and you can play test them, and we want to get feedback on the first 3 missions, or whatever they're going to do, people will come back in who've been away from the game since pretty much the start. They played maybe the first version of Arena Commander, and then they just kind of walked away. So they'll come back in, and they'll play this, and if it's in the state it is right now, they're going to go, WTF. And it's one of those things that I think it's going to take that kind of uprising, maybe, lack of better words. And if that doesn't work, finding out that A doesn't blend with B as far as air, like not matching with ground and stuff like that. This is why I'm excited for combined arms, as long as they approach the respawns correctly. Sometimes, I don't know how to put this, like, some people I think can't see things They can't understand that if they knock the first domino over, that it's going to knock over the second one. They're always impressed by dominoes, and I can look at that and just say, okay, yeah, there's a bunch of dominoes. That's what's going to happen when you knock that thing over. Some people have to see it. You know, some people have to see the display to understand what's going to happen. Like, they have to watch it live, and you can look at everything laid out and see what's going to happen based upon how it's laid out. That just means that people are different. You know, some people have different gifts. Like, you know, there's a lot of things. I'm mechanically an idiot. Like, my brother can, like, listen to a car, tell you what piston's misfiring, blah, 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 and tell you how to fix it for $3.20 with bubble gum and baling wire. I look at a car and I'm like, it's got wheels. I'm not mechanical. That's my weak point. I don't have the ability to fix things. So everyone's got their strengths and weaknesses. And there's a lot of people, I feel, that, you know, they don't understand the underlying mechanics. And then what happens is, in my opinion, is we're getting what's a fight into a popularity contest. Someone's really good at leaderboards. They're really good at getting good score at a terrible game. Well, those guys must know what they're talking about. Those guys must be the experts. Hashtag parody, exactly. Those guys must be the experts because they're sitting on the most kills. Being good at a bad game doesn't make you good at designing a good game. It just means that, you know, you're effective at using the meta or understanding the meta mechanics metas are something that should be avoided too at all costs. But basically, you're just good at using the current mechanics to get the result that you want. It doesn't make the game good. It doesn't make you good. It just makes you good at that particular mode. Like, I suck at a lot of the Twitch flying games, like the ones that are like, you know, Strike Suit Zeros and stuff like that. I suck at them. Maybe it's because I'm older now. I don't know. But there's a lot of people who are really good at them. And there's a lot of those people who just wouldn't be very good at flight sims. So we'll just have to see. CIG is going to have to make a choice at some point in time to decide what's more important. Trying to turn Star Citizen into an esport, or try to make it into what you see in front of you right now. Right. It's always about the meta. Rattlehead is always about the meta. And I see like a lot of these videos that come out. I'm not going to name any names. So I'm not here to shame anybody. But I see these videos that they put out like, here's advanced tactics for maneuverability. We don't have flying yet. Stop with the tactics videos. These complex maneuvers. It doesn't matter. Rotation rates are too high. Acceleration rates are too high. When you have the lack of constraints, it's like, what's the point of trying to, you're trying to bottle up in a very nice package of ways of saying, here's how you keep shooting at some guy. I'm not impressed by it. And I'm not, and this is one of the reasons, like, it's the same reason I stopped doing the witch ship videos where I was comparing ship A and ship B's, because there's so many changes coming to the ships that I felt like, well, I don't want just clicks. That's not the point. I was like, I really want to compare, if I want to compare the Freelancer Max to the Connie Taurus, I want to see what the final product is going to be. So I'm going to wait on doing things like that. Same thing with flight. Like, why come up with all these flight tactics? And I see them, if they revamp the entire flight model, the AI is going to have to be redone as well, right? I mean, you just can't go ahead and get all this pacing and stuff set so all this stuff works. And then just suddenly like go, okay, the AI is still functional. And that's why I don't understand why the programming of all these other things around, when to me it seems like without nailing down your flight model, it's not going to jack with everything else you're trying to build around it. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, much of the way that IM hid the fact that they had a bad, if not the worst, virtual stick in the history of flight games. If they can distract you by having combat, and that's another good point. Like, if they do the combined arms, they might distract you from the fact that flight is utterly terrible because you're on the ground half the time, or you're driving a ground vehicle. And that's a valid point, but I don't think they can distract you from the fact that you're going to get your ass beaten in by some guy who just points his cursor over the top of your vehicle and blows you up. Because you remember the first demonstration they did with the Idris, when they were shooting at the Ursa rover, they were missing on purpose. They were shooting in front of the Ursa rover. They were shooting behind the Ursa rover. They were doing everything they could to not hit that Ursa rover. That will be the same scenario, except reversed. they will basically put the cursor on the Ursa rover this time, and that'll be the end of you. So that has to go. And this is why if they do something like VTOL, it needs to be complex, because otherwise you're just gonna, once again, you're gonna do this. It's all you're gonna do. You're gonna just go ahead, unlock the gimbals, pew 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 pew. Oh look, there's some guy behind this building here. Pew 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 pew. I mean that's all that's gonna be. Anyone on the ground is dead. So they need to get that in check. They need to check themselves before they wreck themselves. If I can use such a corny term. Yeah, exactly. I should be falling. Yeah, the turrets thing, that was, as I said, that was because he was using a gamepad, plus the AI was being made to intentionally fly terribly, or at least I hope it was made to fly intentionally horribly, because spinning to the right by a barrel roll is... I kept thinking of Firefox, or Star Fox, I mean, you know, do a barrel roll. I just kept thinking, like, have we gone back to Nintendo 64 levels of AI? I was waiting for Skippy to come out, like, you know, save me, Fox. You know, do a barrel roll. But yeah, so I don't know. I guess we'll have to see how Combined Arms affects things. As I said, if they give us unlimited respawns, it will hurt the game, I feel. If they limit it, it'll help the game. We'll see. We'll see. All right, guys. Well, on that, apparently my ship isn't going to fall out of the sky. So on that note, I think that's about good for this inaugural kind of Q&A. As I said, I'd like to do this every week at about the same time, same bat channel. And as always, you're welcome to subscribe to the BitChute, I guess for the YouTube, whatever's limited amount and time left, and also this Twitch and Discord and blah blah blah. It's all up to you. I don't do this for the money. I do this to make sure that Star Citizen can be as good as possible, to be as great as it can be, because this generation of gamers need a game that's worth something for the long haul. And we've got enough Call of Duties, we've got enough Strike Suit Zeros. I think this game can be more. All right, everyone. I think that should be about everything. And we'll catch you next time. Feel free to stop by. Talk to you soon.